Any moment that lets you just sit back, relax, and enjoy even 1 second of the day to yourself and taste like pumpkins, that's a moment to look forward to. The McCafe Pumpkin Spice Latte is back. Get a $2 small hot or iced for a limited time. Or try one of our other freshly brewed espresso drinks. From iced caramel macchiatos to caramel frappes to hot mochas to every sweet treat in between. Only at McDonald's. Price and participation may vary.
Yeah, literally.
Like it's
literally. Shout out to Gymshark, by the way.
Great guys.
Wearing, I love this colour on me, by the way. Has anyone noticed that?
That's the one that you've got the photo taken. Yeah, like you look. It makes you look jacked.
Jacked and tanned,
jacked to shit.
Baby. Jacked and tanned.
Thank you very much also to Gymshark for sorting out myself and my wife. She's very happy with the clothing that you provided.
Oh, really?
And
nice.
I'm also thrilled with the clothing that you provided for my wife.
You
So,
fucking
thank you very much.
Dirty man, as would say up
Not
north.
dirty,
You
just
dirty bastard.
No, the opposite.
I don't know where that one. You know what? I will. First podcast back in a while. Shout out to all the long-term loyal subscribers.
We're bringing it back.
We are actually bringing it back. Gymshark, by the way,
Yeah.
putting us through a photo shoot. Do you know that? I say putting me through a photo shoot. I mean it that way.
Is it that like ESPN naked thing where you're going to stand on camera and go?
It's definitely not.
Okay, I actually think you'd be great for that.
Put it this way, I'm already nervous about getting photographed with clothes on, right? Because
that wasn't what you said the other night when you sent me that picture. You said, "Is this rash going to clear up?" And I went, "Oh, seriously,
right, fuck off."
Seriously though, why is someone taking photos of you without me around?
So just to be clear, I think I might ask you to come actually.
When is it? Around?
I don't know.
Right.
But the point is I'm not used to like not having control at this point. Like everything we shoot, every photo we take, I get the okay before it goes out.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has angles of themselves that they don't like, and especially a 21 stone man.
Yes.
Like, you know, some angles you look buff, you look like, you know,
Huge.
jacked and tanned.
Yeah.
And then some angles
Little
rotund.
Right, yeah.
Festively plump.
Chubby funster, True Geordie takes photos.
I mean,
with
BMI
Gymshark.
wise, I'm obese, let's be real. So
I love the BMI.
And it is concerning. So I was on the phone to our good buddy at Gymshark, George. Shout out to him. Love
George
the guy.
is such a great guy.
Yeah, we become pals, and he was like, "Oh, it's going to be fine. These are experts." But in my head, I'm like, I work with experts every day, and shit goes wrong, pal.
That's so true as
every
well.
day. Every single day.
This guy's always fucking up.
No, but I'm the type of person, I feel like I catch mistakes like 12, 13 times a day.
Like fucking COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I can't relax like that, you know what I mean? And also, it's like, wait there, right? If you look on Gymshark socials, those beautiful, beautiful people look nothing like me.
Yes.
So, yes, they make those fuckers look wonderful.
Amazing, yeah.
This twat,
Yeah.
good luck to you.
It's when you walk in the room and they go, "You didn't say we were going to have to."
Well, for a start, it's an hour for hair and makeup. I'm like, well, I mean, why an hour? Why an hour?
Oh, you said you'd make me laugh. This is funny.
No, but
Why are you taking a photo for Gymshark?
it's for their new the Power Range. Remember the Power Range?
The only one that really when it arrived, you went, that's a little bit of me.
So it was very me, and I wore it to death. And it to be fair, I think that's why they wanted me in the next version of it. Is like they're like, it's kind of your thing now at this point. However, lately they've been bringing out a lot more stuff that does fit me, and I actually have been, well, as you can tell, rather happy with it.
Rather enjoying it.
Shout out to them, but I am a little nervous because. He was like, "Oh, they've got a massive crew. Everything will be fine." I'm like, "Right,
that's even worse."
An hour for hair and makeup, right? Got near hair,
Yeah.
and this is the space left for my face for the makeup.
Oh no, your fingers aren't reaching all the way up the forehead. But there is but what I'm saying is the beard down here does take a while to sort of. She's gonna. I'd imagine it's a woman.
She won't be
it's quite
touching the
sexist.
beard.
She might just sort of bring a little comb in here and just sort of angular. You know,
I can do my own beard. I don't need anyone doing my beard.
Say that to her
then. And they sent me a load of exercises that they're going to film me doing. And I'm like, I've been boxing. I've been deadlifting for a while. Fuck.
Are they going to be
deadlift?
Are they going to be real weights, or is it going to be one of those things where?
I mean, I'd hope it would be plastic weights, given. What some of those lads do.
I know what Bumstead really does when he's in the gym. I've seen him do it. Oh, I'm just lifting some real weights.
That's a huge bodybuilder, the sponsor, for those wondering what Bumstead means.
Yeah, it's a name apparently.
It's a really very handsome guy. He looks like a chiseled Adonis.
Honestly,
I've never felt more inferior than when I look at his photographs. I'm like, what the fuck am I? What's the point in me?
Why am I doing a photo shoot when you've got this guy?
You've got him. Just use him for everything. He's great.
Right,
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
What are you getting me there for?
You're there for the befores.
But they're like, I said, I'm not like the other guys. And he goes, but we don't want them. Like, we want you for you. And I'm like,
isn't that lovely?
Say that now.
Right.
But when you see the belly.
No, that's what they want. And you don't really, to be honest.
But this is the thing.
I was watching an old podcast the other night.
No, but let me
You've
say
lost a lot of weight.
I have lost some weight, but at the same time, I'm far from perfect. And body positivity is only for women. Let's be honest.
Wow.
And I'm going to put this out there now.
Okay.
Body positivity is a women-only thing.
At the moment.
There's some reasons, and I'm not blaming women by any means, just in society.
Names.
When men put weight on and when women put weight on, it's a completely different situation.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying women don't have things that are unflattering to themselves and that they don't like. I'm sure they do.
Right.
But a lot of women, when they put weight on, certain aspects of their body get bigger, such as the buttocks,
the bum,
such as the
or
breast,
the boobs, or even some people like a little stomach
and the hips,
thighs, right.
And a woman can pull off gaining weight so much better than a man.
Because if a guy does, people go, "Oh, why have you?"
It's not the same for men. Like
Right.
if we grow our breasts, no one's going, "Whoa,"
Yeah. Well, I mean, post-op
and thick hips on a man, it looks odd. I've got an hourglass figure at this point,
but you don't have a cute butt.
It's a very large one for a man. But anyway, and I'm just thinking, I just need to oversee these angles. I'm worried about these photos.
What I'm worried about here is that the post-shoot, they go, "Listen, Brian, we've picked out a selection of shots here," and you go, "Look, you don't need to edit them. Send them to me. I'll put them on my iPhone and edit them for you." That's my concern.
Well,
you're going to rob someone of a real job.
I'm going to have to pull up, Ben,
Basco or whatever.
Ben when I say him, because this is the thing, though. In all seriousness, we had that interview a while ago. Still not seeing enough chubby men on that page.
That is true. And to be fair,
I'm right here.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why they're doing the photo shoot. They're
Yeah.
like, right, well, we better knock one of them out.
Genuinely, though, if you're going to stand in a room and sort of model some clothes, I don't really feel like you've ever done that before in a gym setting. But you are a good modeler. I feel like you don't know that. But I've had you be a model before. And I go, Brian,
I get. Yeah, I've got a distinctive look, and hopefully we'll make some good photographs for that reason. But I just know there's going to be some real bad, terrible photos that I go, if this ever, can we just destroy this? Or can we just smash the laptop? Can we just smash it up?
Yeah, and they go, well, it's on a card.
There's loads of good ones, and I'll be like, yeah, but I don't want the bad ones ever to see the light of day. I've already smashed it.
So can I ask you a question about body positivity then? If body positivity is about actually being body positive and not just taking photos from angles that make you feel good about yourself, why would you... surely people should upload more of the pictures that are bad of them, if that makes sense. Loads of women on Instagram, I notice, I don't know many men who do it, but loads of women on Instagram go, here's me sucking my stomach in, and here's me 20 minutes later after breakfast. Let's be
honest, very few of the women who do that, and I do credit them because it is important, and I know it does help a lot of men and women.
Sure.
Some people do it for the right reasons, and some people do it because they're like, have a look at my body.
Yeah.
Like, body positivity, when your entire Instagram is you half naked, that's not you being body positive, just to be clear.
Yeah.
And I know people will attack me now because they'll feel personally attacked and they'll go, oh, you can't tell us what body positivity is. But to me, body positivity, what is the true meaning behind it is you're not doing it for yourself. Mm-hmm. You're doing it for the body image of women in general or men in general, and you're doing it to put out a statement of we all have these flaws. This is normal. This is natural.
We're human.
And when you do that, it has to have impact.
Do you think it has lost that?
if every single picture on your profile is you with all of your curves on show, that is not for that reason. It's because you want the clicks, you want the attention, and you want the comments. And by all means, by the way, I got no problem with
Hoover
that.
those up.
But don't hide behind body positivity as the excuse.
Right.
Just say in your caption, "Damn, I look good," and embrace and be that. You know.
Do you think though that
say, I feel great about myself. I support that as well. I just don't like liars.
How many people would go like, so say that you uploaded a picture, maybe people expect that from your personality, and you went, "Damn, I look good." People are, "Oh, that's his personality."
I don't think it is though. If anything, I do have a cocky side, but if anything, I restrain that online because I know people start hating you the minute you have. If you're an alpha male and you have that bravado about you, people don't like it. There's certain things that aren't extended to alpha males. One of them is pity,
right?
One like empathy and stuff like that. Like when you've got the image of the big strong guy, you can't really get like sympathy and stuff like that. You don't. Whereas naturally, we as humans, we find it much easier to look at a woman who may not have self-confidence and stuff, and feel a bit. I do. I don't feel sorry for men the way I do for women. I don't know why. It's just in my head, and I'm not saying everyone's like this, but I think society more so is like that. So for me, it's tricky on how to play the game of social media and all of that. Like, do I say what's really on my mind because that might turn a lot of people off, or guess what? If I go the other way and I'm fucking over the top with it, and I'm like, "Hey guys, we need to be body positive," and all, you know, and people will find that annoying because it'll be bullshit. You know what I mean? People
don't want the extreme either way, probably. But I'd rather someone was honest. I'd rather someone just said, "This is true." And I still, sometimes I got to admit, I feel like body positivity is still wrapped up a little bit in the guise of, "Hey, here I am naked with a full face of makeup," and it's like, yeah, or like, "Hey, here I am naked, but you know, it's great lighting."
There's something that pisses me off, and that's people using certain things that they're really not that attached to further themselves.
Right.
So mental health is a classic one. The amount of people these days who bang on about mental health as if they give a fuck, but really they couldn't give a shit. Just to be, "I'm a spokesperson," or whatever, you know what I mean? And
just a humble tweet here.
But body positivity is a lot like that. Like, so I guess in terms of for men, there needs to be a lot more done, and maybe I'm the guy to lead this.
This is step one of in 10 years' time, you might look back and go, "God, I can't believe that on that day when I shot that, you know, I'd have had so many pieces of surgery in the decade following that." But
I've thought about surgery, if I'm being honest with you, because
what kind?
Penis enlargement. Mm-hmm. No, I'm joking.
You thought you get that done again?
What, another one?
Yeah.
No, I've just got the one now, so I'm going to have another one popped on there.
Yeah.
For the arsehole. No.
That's good.
That would be handy though, wouldn't it? Jesus.
We read that story.
Imagine that. Some women would love that.
Two penises. No, doesn't Shark have two penises?
Well, we'll find. But this isn't David Attenborough.
Right.
Is it Richard? I can never remember.
No, it's David. Richard is the dinosaur one. Yeah.
So,
did you ever think of getting your nose done?
What was wrong with my nose?
What was wrong with your nose?
What's wrong with it?
Nothing.
I did actually have a nose job.
Did you?
So I was in a fight, and it was ever so slightly crooked, and I just had to have it reset afterwards. It wasn't like broken or out like badly.
That is the nature of resetting it, though.
But he had to break it properly in order to set it. And I always like afterwards I was like, "Is that straight? I can." But anyway,
well, do you honestly want to know?
I don't really give a
Mine's
fuck.
not straight either because I broke my nose when I was a kid.
Mine isn't straight then?
Not 100%, but I feel like I can say that as someone with a crooked nose. So I broke my nose when I was a kid as well, and it was the day of the Euro. It was Euro 96, so I was 8 at the time. Broke my nose. Bam, there I am in hospital, and the guy goes, "Yeah, if you ever want surgery, let us know."
Well, this is what I was on about is obviously because I've lost weight, my stomach isn't as tight as what it once was. So I was thinking, do I need to get a
little suction in,
you know, but like
Kim Kardashian style.
But also, that's my point is, what the fuck is a big man like?
Do you want? Here's a question: do you want to be able to walk around topless? Do you walk around topless?
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm bothered about. It's more for myself. You know what I mean? Like sort of performance wise. So I'm obviously not to bang on about the boxing again, but the lighter I am, the better I can perform as an athlete.
Okay.
And if I'm carrying around excess skin, and it don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near as bad as what I've seen some people, but it's just something that I'm bothered about slightly.
You're not in a Subway ad or anything.
Because to me, surgery is something that very vain people tend to get, but now it's becoming so normal, and so that I don't know, it would be more for a practical thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
But then I looked into it, I was like, fuck me, 6 weeks of recovery. I mean, I've got the show to do and stuff like that, and I love being active. I love working out and stuff. So it'd be me just fucking sitting in bed a lot. You know what I mean?
Doing the show around you, doing the kickoff in the hospital bed with Rory on one side and me on the other.
Do you know like Forrest Gump where the mother's laying in bed and it'd be like yous all around me with mics? That'd be so fun.
That would actually be Could you get this done? Because I feel like I want to film that. That'd be incredible.
I mean, we could just do it anyway like that next week.
Do you think? Yeah, like imagine like John Lennon sitting in bed. Do you ever think that obviously because you're older and you lost the weight, when you were younger you were in very good shape, so you've sort of had time when you've been in shape and you know how that looks. Now you're older, you're a bit more au fait with your body, you're all right with it, so you don't mind these sort of things so much. You know, the older you get, the more you sort of wear your scars or your misgivings.
No, I'm okay with it. I'm not someone who's walking around all day going, oh, you know what I mean? Like I'm it's just a little bit of a belly, not the end of the world, but it's like I was just thinking, it's not ideal, and I know that the skin, if I probably had it, tummy tuck or whatever they call it, I would lose a lot of the weight that I'd probably drop a fucking stone immediately, if not more.
How much fucking skin is there, Jesus?
No, but what I mean is like it weighs a lot, you know what I mean? It's like, like people's skin does weigh a lot, like generally. So if I'm 20,
statement.
I'm 21 stone though, do you know what I mean? And I'm getting to a point where
every little bit matters.
I'm struggling to get past barriers, and I'm not wanting to use
like train stations and stuff.
No, I'm trying to get below 21.
Oh right.
And whenever I get towards 20, I've messed it up a little bit lately. You know what I mean? So
I'm not being funny. I've seen you messed it up a little bit. I've seen the meals. What happened?
Without going on another Brian's so depressed podcast, because we've done enough of those. But yeah, it was just sometimes mentally, I'll tell you what it is, half of it is like work overwhelms you, and then there's just not enough time. And before I know it, like I've missed breakfast and my blood sugar's low, and I'm like, let me just grab a burger.
Bit of a headache.
And then, that 20-minute jog that I was going to do isn't enough time for, because we got this to do, that to do, the other to do. And yeah, but now I'm back on the horse.
How does it feel?
Great. I'm training with Loz a lot up north. Some people who've watched The Knockout will know who I mean. Loz from
Lawrence Oswecki.
Yeah, he's my mate from back home. We do boxing, and
I'd love to come up and film you like.
I was going to ask actually
boxing with him, because I think it's a very different kind of boxing to the boxing you do in London, which is still like really good training, but it's more of it's more of conditioning. I think you do in London than you do like technical aspects of boxing.
Yeah, I mean, back in West Ham, it was a lot more of the pain game. It was a hard workout, and it was sparring, and it was a lot more about the physicality of boxing. And it was great because I learned, hey, I can take a punch, I've got heart, and I'll keep going, and I know what I'm made of. Whereas, when you've got one of your oldest and dearest friends training you, who, thankfully is high level boxer, he's on the Team GB with Anthony Joshua, so we're talking he's number one in Great Britain at his weight class. He's all about technique and trying to improve me and look after me a bit, and I've never been hit anywhere near the same way. It's not the same, no. And it's all about what he's saying is, look, we're going to build you up from scratch. Like, it's almost like a whole new thing now. It's like everything is like footwork, and I'm getting there. Obviously, I looked at Tony Bellew's training footage the other day because I interviewed him, and I was like, what the fuck? I'd love to be able to do some of the things he can do. And then I watched my footage afterwards, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Do you appreciate more now watching like a professional boxer?
Oh, it's given me a whole different sort of thing. I guess it's like with you and watching a movie director or whatever, because you understand what goes into it in the back end, you really get a different view of it all.
Right, and you're almost because like similar to watching a film. Like sometimes I'll be like, how did they do that with the camera? The problem is a lot of the time now it's basically they did it in a computer,
CGI.
Yeah, CGI basically. Whereas when it comes to boxing, you're watching it and sort of going, where do these flies come from?
There's just one or two.
No flies on me. So you're watching and you're going, how is he doing that with his foot, or like that hand is moving in a very specific way.
Yeah. The most impressive boxer in terms of after everything I've learned, Tyson Fury. Just
really?
The sheer weight and size of the guy and how he moves, it's up. This is the thing, is there's this like pound for pound list, and people are like, if they were all the same size, Canelo.
It's not the point though, is it?
But this is the thing, is like, for him to lose the level of weight he did, and to be able to move like a fucking ballroom dancer at 19 and a half stone or whatever. Yes, he carries it well, but we might never see another guy that size move like that ever in boxing. It's so,
Hello.
and that's the thing where, for me, like, as I'm training, I'm trying to get better at all the things that he does really well. And they're my biggest weaknesses, because I'm a big plodding weightlifter. I was anyway, and that's what we're trying to get me better at. And like with Derek, obviously back in West Ham, it'll be very much a beasting and grueling and keep going. Whereas with Laws, every 5 seconds the training gets stopped and he goes, that's wrong, change that. Like it's much more focused on just pulling me up on all of my mistakes.
Technicality.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I still get a fucking sweat on. I'm still knackered, but it's just different attitudes. And I think I'm glad I've had both styles, because I think when I spar someone again, like my sparring now is going to be worlds apart. Okay. I'm going to fuck people up now. You know what I mean?
Sorry, you were fucking people up before. So
no, but not on camera. I wasn't. You seeing some like little bits and that, but now it's going to be. I'm not going to fuck them up like a big, slugger. I'm going to take people apart.
Which is a very different kind of boxing and quite demoralising to be against.
That's one. Do you know what's so weird? Yesterday I was having the conversation with Loz about the jab and how he beats people, and that's the word we both agreed on, was like, it's such a demoralising way to lose, because before I'm just trying to land a big haymaker. And that's going to fucking suck. But someone after a loss like that can, like, kind of in their head, they can go, yeah, but I just got caught.
And he landed it just right.
Yeah, we were fighting and he was bigger and stronger, therefore I lost. Okay. But when someone just takes you apart technically and jabs your head off repeatedly, and you're just like, it's going to surprise people that I'm a lot quicker than what anyone would ever expect me to be. And I just need to get there. That's why I'm frustrated about my weight and because at my size and shape and that, like, you can do all the cardio you want, but your body kind of gets to a point where it's like, fuck me, mate, you're pushing. Like, I'm stretching after workouts for like 20 minutes, like, just to make sure my body is not, because I'm training so much.
Do you think about doing like yoga or anything like that?
I think yoga would be fantastic if I could be asked to, like, get the hours in the day to do it. Right. But like, stretching's all I can fucking get in. We've got a list of things to talk about.
Okay.
One of them
like
was
the sex stories.
Well, maybe we should do a problem or two at the end.
We might should do problems at the end. I bought my laptop just for that purpose, actually.
One thing people have asked me to talk about. Crypto and NFTs.
I'm a whale.
I'm not.
In the crypto world.
I'm a whale in the real world.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
You want to switch it. Tell me what you know about crypto and NFTs.
I'll tell you what most people seem to know.
Go on.
That YouTubers keep spending loads on them and bragging about how much they've made off each purchase. And in my head, I'm just like, I've dipped my toe in the water. I've got involved a little bit. But for regular people, and obviously that's what I always think about, is like, how is the real world going to tackle this thing? Because if you've got hundreds of thousands to spend and you can buy a picture of a monkey for $100,000,
a space monkey or a cyberpunk, we're all going to buy these and everyone's going to trade them, but we've all got the cash.
Like,
But then at that point, you make a profit of 50% or whatever, right?
It's a lot more than that.
But regardless, like, but regular people, can't afford them, can't afford to take that kind of risk if they can afford to even purchase one.
Who's got 2 Ethereum just knocking around?
But that's the point, is like, and that's where, when I sit on Twitter and YouTube and I see I've been watching loads of there's this guy, who's the one who keeps trying to take everyone down? CoffeeZilla.
CoffeeZilla,
yeah,
right, okay.
He's cool. Like, I watch him his videos
Does seem like a cool guy.
No, like, literally,
Yeah.
the guy's a smart guy, and I remember watching it when the first crypto thing kicked off and he exposed some of the FaZe lads.
Yeah.
Because basically, for those who don't know, there was this pump and dump, which I'm pretty sure most people know what that is by now, where YouTubers advertise to their audience, hey, get on this crypto, and then secretly they're selling it as that's all going down.
Mm-hmm.
The profit is fantastic.
Because everyone buys in, then they sell, and they
you
before it dips.
Yeah, you scam your own audience, basically.
Which some of the FaZe guys, they're not FaZe guys anymore, we should say, because the second that FaZe found out about that, they were straight on out of there.
But
I felt...
I know FaZe Banks is one of the biggest buyers of this stuff, and
He's one of the biggest
badasses. To me, it respectfully,
bullshit.
It feels like kids with far too much money spunking it on pictures of monkeys that other silly rich people also want to buy off them, and my experience of crypto, what I've got into. So there was Paddy Coin, which we got involved with, which was a mental health coin, which the long-term plan was to give free mental health care to those who need it. So I was like, right, this is
something I can put my name to.
Yeah, that bombed.
Yeah.
So fantastic.
But that's very different as well.
Yeah.
To a pump and dump.
No,
because you didn't dump anything.
No, I've still got all the coins. They're
Right.
worthless.
Yeah.
But I actually held on to them because
Not worthless, relatively.
Out of principle, I was like, you know what it is? I don't want to be that, like, if anyone ever looks into this, I'm just going to make sure we got all the coins, because everyone knows this was genuine. You know what I'm like with mental health. I would never do anything that was underhanded, or certainly not use mental health to fucking scam people. So that was a bit disappointing. But, the people who created it, I think they had a good idea, but obviously when the market crashes and you are financially dependent on things going well, it can shit can. And I think it's important that everyone is aware of that. And too often, and this is part of maybe where the industry needs regulated and the people advertising need regulated, because whenever we put out a gambling tweet, we have to say responsible gambling and all of that.
Yeah.
And realistically, this crypto industry is not even gambling. It's so much more risky than gambling. It's, with gambling you get odds. You really are, and a lot of this is so new right now that you just don't know what you're getting into half the time. And with me, I dipped my toe into two things. After that, I had Yummy, which was a coin which was there to help feed people. Again, another one where I was like, oh, this could be good. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, this could work.
The course suckered you in.
Bombed.
You didn't get that yummy.
I didn't. It bombed. And like I say, I was completely aware of the consequences, and I luckily had the finances to accept those consequences. But obviously a lot of people aren't, and they're hoping it's a get rich quick. They're putting their savings into it sometimes, and it's a bad move. Now, the final one, which I'm still into and I'm still hoping comes good, is Vivi, which is an app.
Oh, me.
Well, I'll explain it.
Yeah.
Basically, Vivi is an app that basically people can buy NFTs on their iPhone. The reason why it's different is it's got some of the biggest brands signed.
James Bond did it.
Yeah, so they've got James Bond, NFTs, Spider-Man.
Right.
Elliot, do you want to shout any more out? There's rumours of Pokemon, and that was part of the explosion of it, because the coin itself is called Omi, or
OMI.
Ecomi, or the company who makes it. So I got involved with that because I was like, you know what it is? These NFTs are, a lot of them are total bollocks, but there's some real substance to Batman NFTs, which they've got on there, like, and they've got basically you can have them in your room and all of that shit, and they're working on how you can.
You're really selling it.
Yeah, but. Well, yeah, just
AR is what you're saying. Like
I'm not trying to sell it. I'm not getting
any
any money from selling this. I could, it isn't really about that. I'm betting on the fact of a lot of people like stuff like Pokemon. You know what I mean? So if they sign Pokemon, and as it happens, the licensor who works at the company used to work with Pokemon.
Yeah.
He was the one behind bringing Pokemon to America and calling it Pokemon and all of that. But the thing is, I immediately took about a 90% loss on that within a few weeks. Now,
Can you tweet, by the way, from now on, whatever you get in on, just so that I know not to get in on
Well,
that?
interestingly, it's now back at about 50% of what I paid for it. Regardless, I bought in on that for a long-term potential payout. And even then, I'm very accepting that could never happen. It might never happen. But through putting my toe in the water, right now, 3 attempts, 3 misses, basically. And it's important that the regular people also understand that is part of it. You know what I mean? And
you also took 3 fairly
risky things,
fairly risky risks.
Very risky.
Whereas other people have kind of gotten in on your Ethereums and your
obviously
Bitcoin.
There's Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything else is basically altcoins, and some have got more potential than others. Like, for example, Ecomi, I think, is in like the top 300 already, and it is still, the VV app is still a beta app. It's not alpha.
That's why they got you involved. No one got him involved.
And but yeah, I think when I see YouTubers sort of saying, you need to get involved in this, you need to get involved in this, I get their excitement. They're making so much money. Regular people can't necessarily do that, and also aren't in a position to take the hit on the risks. And I know that YouTubers don't always think like responsible adults who they're whipped up in the moment and they're loving this new craze. But it's serious business.
And to kind of add to that,
without regulation.
And that's kind of the point of cryptocurrency is, you can't, it was made to not really be regulated. So it's difficult then to bring in regulation.
Well, I know everyone's got this story, but I'm no different. And years ago, a guy who used to buy stuff on Silk Road, which for those who don't know was a place where you could get pretty much anything.
Yeah. You could get hits done on people.
I mean, you get a lot of drugs and all of the rest of it.
And hits.
And Bitcoin was the currency, and he was telling me, mate, you got to get in on this.
There's a load of murderers
out there. I'm like, mate,
there.
I got no fucking money. I had no. So it was no use to me telling me that anyway. But looking back at it,
You'd be a millionaire now.
Yeah, but fuck it. I'll get a millionaire anyway someday.
Yeah.
Someday.
Soon. But we don't know if it's going to be off of Comey. The point is that a lot of the people who, the influencers, those kind of guys who got involved with it, they probably didn't know they were screwing anyone over. They're probably in a house of people or a group of mates who are like, we're going to do this thing. Do you want to get involved? All you got to do is sell it to your audience, blah, blah, blah. This guy's 20 or whatever. And he's like, yeah, cool. I'll sell that to my audience. I'll make a load of cash. And they're like, yeah, and all your audience will make a load of cash as well. And before you know it, there's probably a young influencer who's selling a load of crypto and doesn't realize they're screwing someone else out of something because this guy's sat in his bedroom. I'm not saying that's everyone, but I'm saying I think some people they don't look at the terms and conditions. They just go, I'm going to make money. I'll do it.
Those lower level guys who did get caught out by this CoffeeZilla guy, it's just sick, isn't it? Like,
he didn't catch anyone. He caught them in the act.
He literally this motherfucker, he literally traced what they'd been tweeting, looked at the transactions that had been going on online, and basically narrowed down wallets that would have been theirs. It was pretty genius.
It's some Sherlock shit that he is on sometimes.
Yeah.
The other aspect is, I think this is the first generation of this stuff. So this is like, when we first had money, I think we'll look back in this, like, when you find a Roman coin, or you go to a museum and there's like a Roman coin in the museum, and you go, so old, it looks so shit. In like 100 years, they're going to be going,
that's a euro.
They're going to be like, that's an Omi or whatever you want to call it, or like, that's a Bitcoin. I can't believe that this is what they did back then, because it will be so evolved. There's some like 12-year-old sitting in their room right now learning to code, who's probably going to be, by the time they're 18, a fucking genius, and they're going to code the next Facebook or the next Instagram, but for Bitcoin or for Ethereum or their own coin.
And part of the problem is that the boom has been missed by a lot of people, and a lot of people are I get that it's still in its infancy technically, but everyone has worked out that this is exploding. So now new coins are popping up left, right, and center, and there's just almost too many for someone like me to decipher between what's good, what's not good, and there's so many different YouTubers who claim to be experts in this stuff, and you get hit with a wave of coins, a wave of YouTubers claiming to be the next guru, and I'm at a point now where I'm kind of like, you know what, I'm just going to sit and watch this.
But that's the smart thing
from
to
the
do.
sidelines, because
Right.
I'm not in a position, and like a lot of YouTubers, where I can invest crazy amounts of money and take losses potentially.
We've had to pay for a producer now.
Yeah, that's why we've got subjects today. But also, I need to focus on what my bread and butter is, which is this stuff. You know what I mean? And I think if you're fortunate enough that you've got fuck you money and don't have to upload 4 or 5 videos a week like we do, then good on you. You know what I mean? Doss around, play the game, but that ain't that. And I don't think. I just think I want to keep my eye on what is my thing. You know,
that's kind of it. As I think, and this is definitely after lockdown and after everyone being in a house for a while. You know, we've all picked up an instrument or a skill or whatever it is, and a lot of people sort of dip their toes in about 100 different things because they were locked in a flat or a house, and they were just like, "Yeah, I'm a trader now."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you did one online course from Instagram. You're not a trader. You're just a person.
Well, actually, that's why, and I'm not just. This isn't like a ironic plug, but Free Trade actually feel. And this is just us talking openly here.
Yeah.
This isn't sponsored or branded or anything. But when I started learning from the guys at Free Trade, I was like, this feels safer. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I can get a lot more information about everything I'm getting involved in. The companies I can get, like, they're reputable companies, and you know what I mean? Like, they're real brands. They're selling real things. You know, so I have got so much more context for whether this is risky or not. It isn't just a picture of a monkey with no known creator. But you know what I mean?
You for not knowing how valuable the monkey is.
Brian. Buy as many monkeys as you like. That's what I'll say. Do you know when people get out of context?
Buy as many monkeys as you like.
So strange.
I actually know the guy whose girlfriend. I know a guy, and he has a girlfriend.
Go for it.
Unusual.
Wow. Most of your mates are just single, lonely losers.
Yeah.
Like me.
Yes. Yes. So his girlfriend, is the person who keeps all the art for Damien Hirst.
Who's Damien Hirst, mate?
Famous artist. Yeah, famous artist. And he's the one who got into the crypto thing, right? Yeah. He did this smart thing, which I thought was pretty genius. He sold one NFT version of the art and one real version of the art to the same person. And I think you could buy them for about $2,500 at the time, something like that. It's a good, well spent $2,500, by the way, if you got in on that. Congratulations. In a year's time, you can choose to either destroy the NFT, so delete it, it's never going to come back, or burn the art. And in 1 year, it basically makes it more valuable because you've gotten rid of one of those two things. Now, after people bought the $2,500 NFT and the art, it instantly went up anyway. So it's like laundering money in a way. But I thought that was kind of genius. Now I was like, okay, I can understand why that is a valuable thing. I can't quite understand why a monkey wearing a cap is a valuable thing. But I can understand why a real world artist who has like kind of a cultural gravitas, if you like Damien Hirst, would be important.
And I'd love to interview a true expert on this sort of stuff.
Who is a true expert?
But that's the problem. Everyone claims to be. And there are mostly bullshitters. Whenever you're in an industry where everyone claims to be an expert, 95% are bullshitters.
Welcome to YouTube.
So,
we're all experts here, mate. We're all experts here. Yeah, you want to upload on a Friday because actually, well, no, don't upload on a Friday. No, but upload on Thursday.
This is the thing.
What's good for your audience?
I'm sure that there's people screaming at their phones or whatever.
There are
saying you don't get it, right?
You don't,
and I accept. I do not get it. But I can't help and think that the billionaire who bought Logan's monkey off him for however many $100,000 one day is going to be looking at this monkey going, well, that's fucking worthless now, isn't it?
But the point is with him, it doesn't matter to him.
But at the same time,
it's in our design, the force, the will to move forward, the voice calling us to do things no one thought possible. And at Johns Hopkins Medicine, we are listening, creating blood tests that detect cancer, new treatments to reduce damage from heart attacks, new ways to help the next family who needs us. So we imagine and we care, not just for us, but for all of us. Johns Hopkins Medicine, forward for all of us.
Like I'm saying about the VV app, I get why that would be valuable, because the story behind Spider-Man and Batman and the fucking decades upon decades of history that make those NFTs special.
It's legacy.
Elliot bought the fucking DeLorean from Back to the Future. It was in the fucking flat with the door lifting up and that.
Yeah, I remember at the time thinking, what a fucking loser.
But the point
but
is...
it's now worth, how much money, Elliot? 60 grand?
No, it's 3 times from last year.
It's 3 times.
Okay.
So a virtual car that any fucker could render
Elliot
themselves.
didn't even get the good one. There's a life-size one. But anyway.
A life-size, yeah.
But anyway, the point I'm making,
AR,
the point I'm making is like, this reminds me a lot like Pogs back in the day. Do you remember Pogs?
Can I just say, I made some notes. I actually put in the note, Pogs. So weirdly, we must be. We are so.
But the art.
It's the art on the Pogs.
We're telekinetic.
We're telescopic.
So the art on Pogs back in the day, Pogs were these things where you had a slammer, you put your Pog down.
Again, you've said a slammer and sort of just held it up there. So that you need to lay the basis for the whole game.
Go for it.
What you've done is you've used a technical term and then explained another technical term. So you know when Elliot explains the NFTs and everything, and he goes, "You just got to log in through the back wallet, go in through your pancake swap, and shove it up your arse." And you go, "Oh, fantastic!"
All right, okay. So Pogs were little cardboard sort of circular. Little art.
There were tiny little coins made of cardboard that you would stack up, and the idea was you and your friend would stack up your collections together, right? And then you had a heavier coin that you would throw at them.
And you basically, if you put one Pog down, your mates put one Pog down, and then the slammer gets slammed off of them, and if you flip both over, you get to keep the Pogs.
Yes.
And it was a fun game, far more fun than anything I've seen done with NFTs, by the way.
You've not seen the DeLorean's back doors open,
well, on a phone I have.
Right,
but then
she's a lovely woman.
Also, you could just watch the video of that happening on YouTube.
Exactly.
On Back to the Future.
Yeah, exactly. I will get back to that in a second, though, because I think I understand that.
But regardless, look, it reminds me of that, and ultimately, eventually, you realise you've got bags and bags full of Pogs, and you're now 16. You know what I mean? And the Pogs are worthless.
You can't wank over the Pogs.
And anyway, so there is a hint of that way. I think, where is this going? Because, like I say, Batman, etc., I see the value. The monkey guy, I don't know.
I guess the thing that is added to that, and what you're saying about the legacy of Batman, those kind of things, if you can own a monkey, and by the way, it's a rendered digital monkey that they've then acquired, apparently there's like little functions on the app.
Well, this is the silliness
make
about
him a punk or something.
This is the silliness about it. Is
punk monkey.
If you post a picture of the monkey and you're like, "Hey guys, I just bought this for $100,000 or whatever," and then someone could literally save that picture to their phone,
right?
And they've got the same thing.
Right.
It may not have version 1 or whatever. But yeah,
they own the monkey.
But I get it, and look, I'm not complaining about that because I get collecting is fun, and I understand why you'd want to collect a load of certain. Like I have that in me as well, that sort of need to.
Have you ever collected anything?
Well, I had Premier League sticker books.
And I had
Pogs.
I remember the best one was 1997. That sort of peaked. Merlin sticker was 1997.
And I also loved like collecting action figures when I was a kid.
What kind of action figures are we talking here?
So Power Rangers, Turtles, Toy Story, all of the best ones.
You've mixed all the different universes together. People thought Marvel was genius. Brian was the first genius. He had Woody from Toy Story fighting Donatello from
and then Robin coming in on a bike. Turns out Robin's gay.
Yeah.
Did you know that? They've rewrote it and Robin's now gay.
I get a lot of messages about that. I get a lot of messages about
really?
That. Yeah, because there are a lot of people obviously think it's a sick diss to say I'm the Robin to your Batman. It's a good one.
I think you make a great Robin, just to be clear. But
I think I play a very camp Robin very well.
Just to be clear, I'd be Bane and you'd be Joker, though.
Absolutely. We've worked this one out.
We've worked this out.
We had a very intricate conversation.
If you haven't been watching YouTube long, we're the bad guys on YouTube. We're definitely not the ones pretending to be the good guys, just to be absolutely clear.
Yeah.
We're the fucking bad.
We're not the
Riddler. I wouldn't want it any other way, by the way. Because I love being Bane.
Yeah, and I love being the Joker.
They expect one of us in the wreckage, brother.
Right. Elliot, you're going to have to die with the plane. Yeah. The point is, with that, I don't want a fucking monkey that's been owned by some billionaire in Beijing. I don't care about that. But the idea that no, it's nothing to do with him. The monkey is not Chinese, all right? And I want to be absolutely clear about that.
So it's second-hand Beijing monkey.
It's a second-hand, and that's what I would call it. But the point is, I don't want Beijing monkey. I want some famous guy's monkey because he's owned the monkey.
Oh, so this is why Logan can charge a fortune.
And that's why these guys make it like their Twitter avatar and those kind of things. Because if you make that image famous, or that becomes like a socially relevant image, it's almost good that more people copy and paste it and put it on their phone background and do that sort of thing. Because then people go, I own like a bit of a social movement here. Right?
Well,
like
Pokemon cards obviously have always been valuable, but Logan particularly blew the fuck out of that and made it way more valuable. And, you know, if you were holding on to Pokemon cards pre Logan's live streams, you love him now. You're like, you've just made me millions just by bringing this back. That's
partly what I've also learned from the whole cryptocurrency thing is people kind of want to sell for $1 million. They buy for $1,000. They want to, sell it at $1 million.
I'm one of those people.
Right. Some people go, I buy at $1,000. I can sell at 5,000. I have 5 times my money. I'm extremely grateful for that, right? So not everything is a get rich quick scheme. It's sort of like a make a little bit of money and
that's where I would recommend people go down the more
mainstream
certain route,
right?
And
we're not calling anything certain.
No, but I said more certain,
right?
Because anything right now is more certain than the crypto industry and NFTs, in my opinion. And that's what I'm saying about the free trade situation. What we learned, it's not me pushing free trade specifically here. It's what we learned in their offices about investing in proper companies rather than this sort of thing. But
we learned it can get you offices which are very nice.
And look, I love the fact that there are people out there, especially young people, making a fucking fortune of pictures of monkeys. Good luck, get your money if you can do it. But realistically, I've got to step back and go, I don't fucking trust this right now. And it seems like a very volatile situation. And I have been on the receiving end of that volatility numerous times already, in every time I've touched down.
That was a lot of shots in the dark that you took.
I did, and this is the thing, I could do, because I'm fortunate, but I think it's important to tell the other side of the story on this podcast, because a lot of people like to celebrate their wins very big, but not many people will own their losses, especially not like me.
Right. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. I bought crypto 3 times, shame on everyone.
But this is the thing, I'm quite happy with the Vive thing, because it's showing steady progress.
Right.
And to me, I would take that over the insanity that I see out there right now.
Do you know what I'm encouraged by with the whole Bitcoin crypto thing? It's becoming more mainstream. So I think you can trade it on PayPal now. There are more and more celebrities that are getting involved with it in the States. So there's like Tom Brady is advertising one. I think his friend Rob Gronkowski's
that's another
got
thing
one.
though. When
that's a good thing for us.
Is it though?
Yeah, because dads and idiots who watch NFL on the weekend. I'm not saying anyone who watches NFL is an idiot, because I very much appreciate that. But what I mean is any idiot who's just watching the TV on the weekend goes, oh, I'll put some money in that. Good for us.
I'm not trying to push Vive, because, like I say, I'm sort of relaxed about this whole thing. Like, it could go wrong. I've accepted it. You know what I mean? But I think they've got the license for the NFL, if I'm not mistaken.
Do they?
Yeah. So
can I get a rare Tom Brady on Vive?
Well, they haven't released them. They haven't gone there yet because the app's in beta. But I imagine down the road that'll be when
the alphas come along. Yeah, that's me.
That'll be you.
I've been doing a little bit of NBA trading on NBA Top Shot.
Made any money?
No idea how and why it works. Still, I'm not saying it's a money laundering app, but there are a few times where I go, that layup from this obscure player who plays for the Denver Nuggets has just sold for $15,000. I don't understand this, and I don't know why that particular thing has just sold $15,000, but it seems that transaction of money has gone from there to there. Why would that happen? And no one can track it. No one knows why. Like, it just seems like someone's just pretty much used a platform to illegally move money between two. And I'm not saying NBA Top Shot did that, because I quite enjoy it. But
it's a bit like the old FIFA thing, where you could basically make anything any price you wanted, which is how people managed to transfer FIFA coins around to different players on the game.
Why do you think the Sidemen are so rich?
Well, actually, it is down to FIFA coins, and ironically,
that's a joke,
I wonder where this is going in football terms. You know what I mean? Because the Premier League days of collecting stickers were huge, so no doubt someone is sitting on that and thinking, we're going to make a fortune off Premier League NFTs.
Is that Sorare? There's a football one. There is one that does it, but these guys, I had to unsubscribe from the email in the end. Sent me about 50 emails a day going, rare Neymar, one of two out there. Buy it now for 10 grand.
What are you saying, Elliot?
Oh, Bitcoin's now an official currency of El Salvador as well. So that's encouraging for anyone who lives in fucking El Salvador or is ever planning on going to El Salvador. My passion for travel is temporarily dead because I have not travelled in some time.
You've been travelling? Oh,
I went on holiday.
Let's talk about your holiday.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
How? So just to put some context on it, you went back to the country where
my wife was a refugee
from.
During the I'll call it a genocide because it was during the genocide they went through in
which country would that have been?
Kosovo, which isn't an internationally recognised country by some people. There are some countries that don't recognise it for political reasons.
Oh,
so
really?
I don't want to upset anyone here.
Do they say it's not a country because they still class it as?
Because they. Everyone knows there was a conflict in that area at the time, and Serbia believes that land belongs to Serbia, and Albanians and Kosovans believe that land belongs to Albanians and Kosovans. And so there's
Albanians and Kosovans.
Well, Kosovo is kind of their. It's like me saying you're Geordie but you're English.
Okay.
So Kosovan people are very much linked to Albania, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because they are Albanian, but they want their own country to be able to be self-governing and sovereign. And I get that, and that's important.
Done your research.
I've had to.
At this point, I'm pretty sure you'd passed the exam.
Well, I have passed the exam. We've got a child, so he's a great kid.
Easy way to pass the exam.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish all exams were that easy. I would have got A's at school.
I'd have spunked it. So we decided post-pandemic that it was important to take our son back to Kosovo because
he needs to learn about his history.
He needs to learn about his history
while he's young enough to absorb it all.
Exactly. While he's under a year old.
I love the fact that he's just making notes like, bloody hell, this is amazing.
I've got to admit, I do, they say like travel broadens the mind. I think when you're young and you are like, you're a sponge for absolutely everything. When we went to Kosovo, I remember thinking it's really hot, first of all. I'll talk more about this. When we're going around, he was observing everything and like taking it all in. When he came back, I don't know if it's real or maybe I'm just looking at him and going, yeah, he's changed. I felt like he looked different because
broadened his horizons.
Yeah, he went, yeah, there is a bigger world out there. Yeah,
hey, Dad.
London's a big place.
Hey, Dad, I love London, but I want to travel as soon as I'm old enough.
Genuinely, I'd love it if he did that. I think it'd be incredible.
Well, if he's like his old man, he's going to enjoy the look of foreign women, and that'll lead him off to all corners of the globe.
He is a good-looking little kid.
Of course,
I will say.
By the way, for those who are wondering, he looks a lot like Lawrence. Like, a lot.
But with, like, little touches of his... So he's got, like, thicker lips than I do and those kind of things.
I don't want to piss anyone off when I say that. I know
you're not pissing anyone off.
You're caveating it well.
No.
But
it's a carbon copy.
It's Lawrence with blonde hair.
So I sent my dad a picture of him the other day, and Dad said, "When was this picture taken of you?" I was like, "No, there's a picture."
And
of
he actually looks
son.
so much like your dad as well, by the way.
So my dad came to visit yesterday, and we went into a coffee.
I think he kind of looks more like your dad even than you, almost. Does that make sense?
Chubby cheeks will do that.
Yeah. Once the puppy fat comes.
What about Dad? But the point is, with they both have quite sort of like the McKennas have quite sizable cheeks, should we say? And
storing nuts for the winter, aren't you?
Clearly, all three of us like stood in a row in a coffee shop, and the guy went, "Are you related?" And we were like, "Yeah, well done, Sherlock."
The McKenna boys.
Yeah, it was a nice moment. So anyway, we fly to Kosovo. I've got a little bit. I get like a nice offer, so we fly business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about that. I felt like, post-pandemic, I deserve a nice plane ride.
I think you do, because I don't know anyone who loves travelling more than you do.
And
I know it really bummed you out not being able to do that.
So I booked that as a surprise. So when we get to the airport, I'm like, we're not going in that line. We're going in this line.
Oh, I bet you she loved it.
She loved it. Because you and I have flown business before, and that was the first time I ever flew business. Yeah. We flew business when we went for a business meeting somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And we... I realise now we kind of spunked it by playing Mario Tennis for the full...
that wasn't true business though, was it?
It was like half business, half...
coach.
It was just normal.
Yeah.
But to me, it felt fancy.
So what we had there should be the bare minimum that everyone has.
Right. And that was a good argument, but for some weird reason, planes don't believe that people deserve that.
No, and that's why I hate flying, and I truly hate flying. Like, I feel like hell for me will just be in one long plane ride.
Right.
Where I'm like, just cooked in like sardines.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I used to I used to fly to London back when, we first started doing this. Can you
Is
believe
that not insane to you that they made you fly to London? Like, is that any easier than taking the train?
No one made me fly, but like it was just like, oh, we'll fly because it's quicker. In theory, but like
in theory,
I don't want to make this a complaining podcast,
but it is the faffing.
But I fucking hate airports and I fucking hate aeroplanes.
What's Newcastle Airport like? I've never been there.
Well, it's like any airport; they're all shit to me. I hate every airport equally.
I'm about to tell a story about how much I love the airport.
Go for it.
Well, like obviously, I love flying anyway. I love airports. I love going places. So I
mean, it's just loads of queues, mate. What could you possibly like about airports? Tell me. Everyone's queuing, everyone's rushing around, no one's polite, we gotta get the bags out.
Yeah.
What is fun about that though?
The business lounge was what was fun about that.
Mate, it's just a lounge with seats and windows.
And
we're in a lounge right now, technically.
But I'm not waiting to go anywhere, and there's not a woman who constantly comes over and goes, "Can I get you another top up for that? Or can I get you another sandwich?" And I was like,
do you know there's something about Lauren that's like over the years I've picked up about you is like you are obsessed with like the finer like side of life like that,
especially if it's like travel.
No, but there's a word, and to me, there's a word that sums you up.
Wanker.
No, it's that luxury.
Luxury.
But when I say before I met you, I was like luxury, But you go
luxury.
No, but say it the way you always say it. Luxury. You really say it.
Feels good. Right.
Luxury.
And I hadn't felt like this in a while.
I accept that. Yeah.
So we're all sitting in this lounge, and obviously Flu's sitting there like, wow, this is good. Do you know what I mean?
My man did good.
Exactly.
I'm proud of that.
We're sitting next to all these older couples.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
I did feel proud in
Mate,
that.
You're a boss.
I did also think in that moment, I was like, shall I text Brian and go, thanks for the money? And go,
fuck off.
No, but it was like a moment where I was a bit like, this is cool.
I'm proud of you.
Even our son is sitting there going, this is good.
He's a little pimp. He's sitting there enjoying his second refill of milk or whatever.
His third refill of the milk with cocoa melon on the side there. Yeah. So we're all sitting there like having a good time, constantly just bringing me more drinks.
Is he breastfeeding?
Not anymore, no.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just mentally picturing
because you see my wife. And so... So we get on the plane. He falls asleep.
Oh,
that pretty perfect. And I was like, "What if?" The thing is, when you take off, he just kept doing this, like that, and I was like, "Yeah, I know." So you give him a bit of milk.
Oh, yeah, because So when he's sucking on the bottle. Yeah,
and it is a bottle.
I did that.
Yeah, you saw.
It helps his ears.
Yeah. So then he falls asleep almost straight away. We have him laying down in a seat in between the two of us. Along come like our meals. Honestly, it was the best flight I've ever had. And then we get to Kosovo.
I genuinely was worried about that because in my head I'm like, this is gonna be a fucking nightmare.
Babies on planes.
Yeah.
Some of the other babies are like,
yeah, and you turn around and go, will you shut that kid up?
Yeah.
Your baby's shit.
I'm sorry, can you draw those curtains that go back to coach, please?
My baby, brilliant. Yours is rubbish.
He did cry a little bit when we were taking off, and at that point I remember thinking,
pussy.
I paid for business class, but like on a discount. Some other people here will have paid for it, and I'm in there with a kid screaming in their faces.
Suck it, nerds.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I was a bit like,
deal
fuck
with
you.
It.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real though. If you're going on a holiday in summer and you don't expect children on a plane, you're a fucking moron.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't complain about that.
Yeah.
It's summer.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make sure there's no kids on a plane, charter your own, pal.
Well, there was one woman who sat down in business, and she was sort of opposite and a little bit forward, and I was sat in the aisle with him, sort of on my lap, and she sat down opposite, and as she went, and I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't realise this was your plane. Like, genuinely, if you've got a problem with it, don't travel with the public if you have a problem with it.
Mate, I'd literally I'd be straight up going, what?
No, but
can I help you?
But you know me, I'm the opposite of that. I'll go, your card's marked. See you in 5 years when I'll get revenge. Yeah. That's the point.
So you're a real slow player.
You don't want to feel the knife going in. No. They don't even know the knife is going in.
It's like Batman, ironically. You're more like Poison Ivy.
Right.
It's the slow blade that
exactly.
you don't see coming. And the twist of the knife.
I slowly twist, and before you know it,
I've had some
bleeding out on the floor.
Good flights.
Yeah?
Nah.
There's
been a few noticeable ones where I've been throwing up after nights out on a plane. I remember that night we ended up in a Sorry, I ended up in a strip club, and
I didn't end up in it. Just to be absolutely.
No, it wasn't Loz.
Yeah.
But I remember going back the next day, and I was just hurling up on the plane, and everyone's like, there was guys like taking videos of me who recognised me, and I was like,
you were thrown up in the public space in the plane.
But I had 3 chairs to myself because to be fair, I will give credit in some regards is some of the staff on board the planes, God knows how much shit they put up with.
They let you out the cage and sort of to roam free?
No, but they were like, they were cute little old ladies sort of fussing over us, and they were like, oh, we'll look after you.
Oh, that's actually
They probably
quite nice.
Fancied me, just as the sick was dripping off my bottom lip.
Off your beard?
Off my beard.
As it went down the beard?
I swear to God, the most unattractive thing ever is a beard after someone's thrown up.
With sick in it, yeah.
Oh, God.
That's lovely.
Welcome back to the podcast, subscribers, by the way.
Nothing sexier.
I fucking hate flying. So what was the country like, though, when you got there? Because obviously, without going too hard into every little detail, you know, your Mrs. family had to escape a lot. You know, they went. It wasn't a great situation.
It was
for
a
them.
terrible situation
Yeah.
in this country,
Well,
and it's a
yeah,
situation.
trying to be nice, but
like where one day people are living side by side, and like so you know Serbs and Albanians and Kosovans are all living side by side, and the next day, because of the government and those kind of things, and because of political situations, you're not quite sure who you can trust. There are police going around just inviting young men to go to buildings, slitting their throat, shooting them in the back of the head, all these kind of things. And that's what's kind of bizarre when you're there, is how that was still so recent in their history.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, with us, the World War II and World War I feels a little bit removed.
it feels hundreds of years away,
Right.
actually.
But, you know, your granddad was brave, and, you know, your great uncle was brave, and all these kind of things. So you've sort of got an element of pride about it, because you're like, yeah, this person died for a good reason. And like,
you know what I think about that now? Mm-hmm. Those poor fuckers would be turning in their graves if they've seen the shit show that this country's become. But anyway, carry on.
more about that later. So we were there, and then there are people, we're walking down the street in her hometown, and they're like, oh yeah, this is where 50 people were shot. Should we get an espresso? And I'm sort of like, wait, there were 50 people shot over there? Like, that's terrible. And the whole country is quite small anyway.
What are the people like? You know how there's every country seems to have a vibe. So, like, for example, English people are sort of too polite and quite subservient.
Right.
Americans are seen as, you know, arrogant and a bit loud.
Noisy.
You know, I'm generalizing, but I'm trying to get a gauge for what it was like over there.
It's quite sort of, I call them humble people, and quite sort of welcoming, extremely proud. Like, they'd always want to tell you something. They'd try their best to speak English, because obviously I'm not speaking that much great Albanian.
Every day, thousands of hackers try to steal your crypto. But Arculus uses air-gapped technology by forming a protective barrier that insulates you from hackers and secures your crypto. Order yours at getarculus.com.
And
Not that much.
Not that much.
Are you
I'm
learning?
learning. I'm trying to learn.
I rate that.
Because
so at least when she gets angry with you, you can understand her now.
so that is part of it. I've started to understand people's curse words and stuff
Oh,
like
really?
that. So I'm literally like, I know what you're saying now. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And so we're walking around this country. It's like 38 degrees for the first 3 days that we're there.
What was the boy like?
He was fine, actually. If anything, it made him sleep longer. He was like, yeah, this is good. I'll nap in this. But we don't get to nap. I have to push this kid around in his pushchair for hours.
Oh.
The food was a lot different to England. He said diplomatically.
Yeah.
There's a lot more meat. There's a lot more rice.
Would I have liked it? Because I do like meat and rice.
Right. You would actually quite like meat and rice.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was
What kind of meat? Is it just anything and everything?
mostly beef, because it's a mostly Muslim country. So there's not any pork really.
So you couldn't get bangers and mash anywhere?
You just get pork. You get beef sausages. But like, there are delicacies which are pretty good. Like, we went to one of their local, like, here's the thing. Everyone there is running their own business. This isn't like, you know, in London, it's like, I work for Pret or I work for blah, blah, blah. When we go to this town, the guy who works in the kebab shop owns the kebab shop. The guy who works in the taxi owns the taxi. Everyone owns their own shit.
I mean, that's fantastic,
Yeah,
surely. And
it's
obviously
amazing.
that's kind of the way this country was before Margaret Thatcher.
Privatized everything. Nationalised.
Yeah, and I think people take a lot more pride in their work in that regard. And I would imagine that, because I've been to a restaurant before where the guy, like, I don't know why but it was a Greek restaurant I once went to.
He owned it.
And a guy owned it, and he almost welcomed me in as if it was his home.
Right.
And when people have that attitude, I don't know, I just feel like it's a level up from when, and you know, I think the pride that people have, it's a shame more people don't get that in this country, and now, and I think it's a very deliberate thing that's been taking place in the UK for many decades now. But yeah, go on, sorry.
Well, what I was going to say was, it kind of gave me a new perspective, because obviously I'm around my wife and her family like quite a lot, and they're very proud to be from this part of the world. As I would also say, there are probably a lot of Serbian people out there who are also on the other side of what turned into a conflict, who feel very proud about where they're
We're
from.
not going to get loads of political messages.
I get enough. Honestly, I know a lot of lovely Serbian people. I'm good friends with people like Vuj and people like that. They're lovely people. I get a lot of hate from just random people going, how can you have a wife who's Albanian, you disgusting, blah, blah, blah. Right. I want to come kill your kid, those kind of things. And like, that's a fairly
I know.
occurrence.
Without going into all the details, I know recently there was a lot of that sort of stuff after you became, you know.
Yeah. That can I just say one thing about that? That all popped off the first day of our holiday. Yeah. And obviously I didn't see it coming because there was no sort of, there's no warning for this sort of stuff happening on YouTube.
Well,
so I didn't see any of that coming. And so Flu and I are trying to enjoy our first ever holiday as a family.
With a baby.
And
a lovely romantic time, hopefully, where you guys are going to finally have a break after, you know, COVID and a lot of, let's be honest, a lot of stress, and you're no different to anyone else in that regard. But I think when you spend a lot of money to try and make something special happen,
right,
as a YouTuber, the last thing you want is to open your phone up and have people saying, "What about your kid?
Your son's going to watch this in 15 years and be ashamed of you," and that kind of. Or messaging Flu and being like, why would you marry this prick? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Flu gives as good as she gets, and I will give her that. Which is quite fun.
She's a feisty woman.
She's extremely feisty.
If anything, I think people are lucky she's not on camera.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To be honest, that was part of it. Like, she was...
how soon into the holiday?
Like day one.
Okay.
So we land, day one, this hits. And so I'm sort of...
You're getting lots of people slagging you off online and all of that.
And in my mind at the time, when I first saw it, I thought, well, this won't be as big as it became. So it became much bigger than I thought. So originally when I saw it, I went, tweet about that and that'll pass that on.
I couldn't... Honestly, I'm so over it. And I am so over YouTube drama, genuinely, because I think it's something that you do when... Like, we have content to make. You know what I mean? I'm actually trying to make content about football and fighting and all that. And I could give a shit about this. But I am more interested in how you are feeling.
Yeah.
Because you're my best mate. I love you a bit. And I care about you and your family, and I wanted you to have a great time. And that was one of the things in my head when you were out there was, I could give a fuck about YouTube drama, because it's here today, gone tomorrow, fish and chip newspaper. But I know that this is so important to you, and that's what I was feeling.
And that was part of it. And I guess I was sitting there also feeling like I felt in a very unusual scenario that I'd never really been in before at home. And then I was also in a very unusual scenario in another country where I'd never really been to a country like this before, which is extremely hot, extremely out of my own comfort zone, kind of. And I like to travel, but I've never really traveled to a place where there are power cuts in the middle of the day sometimes because someone's decided to turn the power off because there's not enough power within the country. We're talking about a country here that's become its own country very recently. So there's a lot of like logistics things that happen that people just sort of accept. So when the power goes off for them, they're like, oh, the power's gone off. But I'm sort of like, in my mind, during the holiday, I'm going, the power's gone off. That's 6 hours for all these notifications to rack up. So the power comes back on, my signal comes back on my phone, and my phone just goes, brrrr. Do you remember the first charity match that we did?
Yeah.
It was like that.
The Sidemen charity match where we slagged everybody off.
Absolutely, everybody from front to back on the game.
And we didn't get invited back for the second one, but you know, guess what? We got back for the third one, slagged everybody off.
Absolutely, and you know, with the funny thing about that, I'm starting to see there's a pattern that when I slag something off, I don't get invited back for the second one.
Yeah.
So I'm noticing that.
We're gonna have to do our own charity thing.
Honestly, I'd love to raise more money for charity because I'm such a selfless person. I'm so giving, but I just don't get enough chance to show people that. I'll say, can I just caveat the whole conversation by saying there were some things I felt really bad about, and in that moment I did some reflection, and obviously I'm sitting in another country doing some reflection and going, you know what, maybe I made someone feel terrible, and I don't feel good about that.
Yeah.
But that's not a good state to be in while you're on holiday. And no one's saying you feel sorry for me. I'm not going, my whole holiday was ruined. All I'm saying was I'm describing a situation I was in, and you might be able to relate to it. So I'm sitting there reflecting.
Probably not for most people, because it is a very weird thing.
Yeah.
And I can say from my own experience, which is obviously huge to a degree.
Very formative.
When you're feeling out of control of a certain situation, it's a horrible feeling. When I'm sure many people have felt in different ways, whether or not you're getting targeted by, maybe there's a neighbour you're in a dispute with, or if when you feel targeted by a large group of people, and when it comes in a wave like that, it's very hard to sort of know how to handle it, and there is no manual for this. And then you also have, more importantly, the child to look after in a foreign country where, yes, obviously, his family are there and stuff like that, but still, you're on guard. You don't quite feel as safe as when you're at home.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things going through your mind. I can only imagine.
And when you're at home, you can go to your own bed. And also, when there's a lot of YouTube drama, a lot of people on YouTube who have drama don't actually have families. They're people who have very little else going on in their lives. So they can afford to take 5 days out and go, I'm going to be feeling a bit down or anxious or whatever for 5 days. There's no one else relying on me. And they're probably making a lot of money off AdSense or whatever it is. So they can afford to take some time out, right? I felt like I'd ruined our first family holiday myself, because in that moment...
Because she was getting affected by it.
She was affected by it. She was affected by how I was on the holiday, because I was obviously, not like myself. But also there were moments where we were also incredibly grateful, and it goes the opposite way, where it swings the opposite way, and you're like, fuck this, like, this is a great day. I'm really enjoying seeing this, meeting your extended family.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and I really am glad that you were able to just put that to one side, because I know how much it meant to you, and despite what anyone says, I know you're a good person, despite your sense of humour being warped and dark and fucked up just like mine. You really do deserve that holiday, and and to work so hard to try and give your kid a lovely experience like that, to show him where his family were from, that says a lot.
And I'll preempt two things. People in the comments saying things like, you're just trying to make people feel sorry for you in a situation where you were a wanker or whatever. I get that, right? And people can be wankers.
Oh no, you've acknowledged that for sure.
We've all been wankers at some point in our lives online, but that's not an excuse for.
But all you can do is apologise, which you've done,
right?
And try and move on.
But you know me. And there's two things that always get me into trouble. I say things thinking that on the other end, there is someone who's receiving that, understanding what my intent is. And so the thing I then hate, I think I hate it more than anything else, is not being understood, and that people don't understand where you're coming from. So the want for the whole of that time for me to just go, no, you don't get it. That's not what I'm trying.
But the problem is, Loz, some people don't want to understand. Do you know what I mean? And it's a deliberate thing where they know fine well, what you're like and who you are and all of that. And I'm not taking shots here. It's just there were so many people who were talking online and all of that. I was just like, what? Lawrence McKenna? Are we going to do this? Are we? Do you remember him roasting the Sidemen? Do you remember the charity?
Do you remember any of this?
You don't have comedian in your Twitter bio, but you're a piss-taking, jokey, not serious kind of guy. That's
a demeanour that I've adopted online, and for some weird reason, a lot of people in that moment thought that's 100% you. No, that's
but the reason for that is because when we talk to our audience who have a long-standing, relationship watching us and absorbing our personalities. We don't need to say at the start, well, we're going to make some jokes now. Yeah, right.
Can I just say the irony was the day before the whole thing broke, and before I went away on a holiday, you and I actually had quite a frank chat on the phone.
Yeah.
And I said to you, actually, part of my problem is I don't think I'm able to mentally process I'm able, but I don't think I have mentally processed what it's like to have this platform, because I still think of this as your platform that I just happen to be on, and I'm like the mate who's tagged along, if that makes sense. And I said to you, I don't feel famous. I don't feel like I'm better than anyone else.
Do you know what was so funny? I think we spoke after it all broke, because you were like, I don't feel like anyone. It was sort of not feeling acknowledgement or that sort of self-worth that you were sort of wrestling with.
Yeah.
And after this happened, I remember laughing with you going, well, you wanted
you wanted people to know who you are. What I was wrestling with was like the idea of giving you credit and knowing what my part was in that, and not taking away from you, and knowing where you end and I begin, but also that we're a team, but also how to tell other people that without going, actually, I sort of did quite a bit of this stuff as well, and not making, because you know what, last night when we said we were going to do the podcast again, I went back and I watched some old podcasts, and I'll be honest, I was about 5 glasses of champagne deep at this point. After
we noticed in the group chat,
right? And the effect alcohol has on me is it makes me become like a bit out of body. So I start to sort of observe myself, and I'll watch myself in videos and be like, shit, like, well, look at that guy. And it made me look at you and go, fuck, he was really good in these interviews. And was I patronizing Brian, or was I thinking I was better than I was? Or was I giving myself a bigger role in this podcast mentally than I've ever had? And so I've really, that's been my whole past 6-7 months, is questioning like my whole role on those things and where I'm going and that kind of stuff. So when all this came up, not only was it obviously a painful thing to approach, shit, maybe I was a bit of a cunt, but that was midway through my own set of reflections about me and my own changes in life and becoming a dad and those kind of things. So it was a big, it had quite a big impact. But what I would say is we've made that into a positive impact. And it's been a really reflective, like, positive time.
I think if you don't wrestle with your behaviour and regret, you're not a man. You know, like, to me, and by man, I mean a grown man. Grown
adult, yeah.
I think the hardest thing about being an adult is learning to live with regrets. And I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. No, seriously, I've had a lot.
Yeah. You know, this is the thing, is we get into a serious subject and then we make jokes.
People like it.
Right. It seems to be a format.
I one of the hardest bits of my life is regrets, and all of the things that I look back on and think, oh, could I have done that? Could I have said that differently? And ultimately, I have to go into my heart and question that and go, yeah, but where was your heart at in that? Were you being selfish, or in your genuine logic, did you really think that this was, you know? And I have been selfish at times, and I have been a bad person at times, and I have done things that I'm not proud of. But also, generally speaking, I know I've got a good heart, and I know I care about people. And when you were going through, you know, it was a storm in a teacup. It was silly to me. It was like, yeah, a bit of an arsehole, but fuck me. Like, but I realised, like, a lot of that was down to the perception that people have of you that enabled them to sort of get super aggressive with it. And ironically, 2 wrongs don't make a right, you know? If one person's a twat, and then everyone then piles on that person for being a twat and goes completely overboard about it, they're also twats. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So
and that's not to diminish what
the point I'm making is a valid point at the start is, yeah, bad joke, twat, whatever. Hold your hands up. It's over and done with. But the way social media is, and the frenzy, you know, it reminds me of The Simpsons when they all got their stakes in the flames. It's silly, and this huge group of people don't realize, like, you're going overboard now, like, you know. And I get it, because in the heat of the moment, when you feel attacked, you want to attack back,
right?
And ultimately, we all have to grow up. We all have to be more mature online. And that's the thing I think I've really got out of this year is, like, just let it go.
Right.
Like, if I ever have a real problem with someone, I ain't going to talk about it online. I'll just punch them square in the face. You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
That's a real problem.
And to sort of add to that, that was what I was wrestling with whilst I was away on holiday. And it was this idea of 1 minute you swing from, one minute you swing from, this is also silly, and your mind is going through. Even if you know you've got nothing...
You know it's silly, but then when you see the thousands of tweets and the thousands of messages where other people are taking it so seriously, you in your head are going, oh my God, this isn't silly, this is really serious.
And the shame is very real.
Shame is a killer. Shame is why people commit suicide.
Yeah.
It's the minute anyone makes someone feel that deep, dark shame that... The girl who presented Love Island,
Caroline Flack.
Caroline Flack, that shame that she felt for what she was being hammered for and all of that, like that's the thing that gets people to go over the edge. And ultimately, we've had more than enough time online to realise that there's a healthy balance to be had between criticism and annihilating someone for a mistake. And the mistake... The punishment has to fit the crime is what I'm trying to say here. And I'm not even having a go at the people who had a go at you.
No.
What I'm saying is, we just need to learn.
And I think literally one of the first things I said on the call, and it was a support call because you guys were sitting at home going, fuck, Lawrence is halfway around the world. We don't know how he's reacting.
Yeah, we wanted to have a bit of a catch up with you.
Right. And I think I tweeted something which was probably a mistake because it, and
I said point blank period to you. I said, this is a result of a lot of your other shit. This is a lot of people who are Man United fans, Man City fans, who've been annoyed at you before. A lot of
the avatars did have Pogba in them, I would say.
The point I'm making is this is people's chance to go, we get to get the guy who's very funny and gets other people or whatever. But the point is, and this is what I was trying to get at before, is you got to question your intent and what's in your heart and where you're really coming from in that moment. Usually, unless it's a joke, which we do make a lot of them, I'm trying to come from a genuine place, and I know you do as well. And I think that's what I wanted you to hold on to is, I did say, look, mate, you've been a twat in the past and you brought this on yourself.
Yeah.
And I was very honest with you.
Yeah, totally.
But also, I said you're a great person, and let's be real. How many duos on YouTube have lasted the test of time? Like, the reason we have is because we genuinely love each other. We look after each other, and we look after everyone around us as well, by the way.
And those people look after us.
Absolutely. We're a fucking family here. So it was just important to go, yeah, you've been a twat, but you're not actually a bad person.
Right.
Remember that, And I think what I wanted to do was give you the real shit. You know what I mean?
That was really helpful.
And not the lopsided, we all hate you, but also not bullshit you and say, oh, you're great and you haven't done anything wrong.
I think also it helps to have a friend who's been through something probably 10 times, 100 times worse than what I've been through. But having been through the process that you go through when people are trying to make you feel ashamed, and what's strange, and what I can understand why people like Caroline Flack did what she did. Not because I at any point had suicidal thoughts or got anywhere near that, because I didn't.
You're saying your experience was minute, but even still, you get a window.
Right, and I got this interesting window into, hey, you've criticised a mental health charity event, kill yourself. Now, there's an interesting irony, delicious irony in that I definitely took some pleasure in, but I from the proportion of people who messaged me and went, you should end your life, like, you're the worst person online, it came in like a slew, and I didn't feel bad because of that. But I did see the impact that it had, because Flu had never seen stuff like that, and Flu had never gotten messages from people saying, your husband should kill himself and I hope he dies, or saying things like, I hope your son dies of a serious illness. Or things like that.
I remember you telling me about that as it happened. So just because I don't want anyone thinking he's exaggerating or whatever. Like, this is it's just life for us. Like, I understand when you sign up to this game, there's a lot of benefits. There's some drawbacks, and me and you have signed up for that, but your kid hasn't. You know what I mean? And and I think there should be a line. And I guess when we cross the line. The people think that that's fair game then, but the point is you don't get to keep the moral high ground when you come down and go further down than I did, and you can get fucked at that point. You know what I'm saying? And that was, but the temptation to then say to those people, get fucked, and like that is very tempting to like just tweet out, just get fucked or whatever. Or like we enjoy creative videos, I enjoy comedians. Flu said to me like,
let's watch some of your favorite comedians. Let's watch some Dave Chappelle. There's a Dave Chappelle stand-up, and in no way am I contrasting myself to the legend and the living God that is Dave Chappelle. He starts his show and he goes, one thing you got to remember, I'm saying some things because they're funny, but sometimes the funniest thing to say is mean. Flew turned to me and she was like, we don't need to watch anymore.
Genuinely, I watched that guy who I've really liked, Jim Jeffries,
the Australian guy. Yeah.
And he was literally making around that time I was watching this, and he goes, out of everyone, I'd want to be raped by Bill Cosby because at least he gives you drugs first, you know. And the point is,
and that's a horrific thing to say out of context.
Afterwards, everyone's laughing, but then they're like, oh, and he goes, hey. Just because I said it doesn't mean I really believe it,
right?
You know, and the point is, you know, our jokes and we're just for context. We were watching a live stream of a charity event, having poking some fun, making some silly jokes, and not thought through, not on the watertight level of a Dave Chappelle or Jim Jeffries or any of them, and. Hell, it was just killing time, having a laugh, and really actually trying to endorse what the charity, you know, and just in a just sort of something to do, really, more than anything. And I clearly
that was understood by some people.
And clearly, you know, if we'd thought about things more deeply, you'd have never have said some of the things that you'd said, and you would have thought about how you want to word it and how to make the joke better and more respectful and all of that. But the point is. This is where it comes down to knowing who's saying it. And that's what I'm talking about is that's the context. That's the important thing. And I am grateful for a lot of the people who reached out to you, a lot of the YouTubers who were messaging you, supporting you and saying, look, we're not surprised by this and we know like who you are. We know you're a good guy and just forget about it. It'll be over in a minute anyway. But
what I'll say is there are a few people like Tom and Callum who went about and made the event. I felt really bad, and I feel like I approached that situation in apologising to them and trying to make it right in the wrong way.
Did you say situation there as a dig?
No,
was that a subtle dig?
No, yeah. You know, that's the kind of joker I am. I'll do it I'll stab you in the back.
This is the new way.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just going to call it a situation.
You won't see it coming.
But Clash of Creators, we were all for it, and I think the multiple times that we said you should donate and stuff like that, sort of,
right.
I think out of context we're lost. We made a video about Piers Morgan where we destroyed him, but like certain people, you know, are asking for it, and you know that they're playing by the same rules. Piers Morgan playing by the same rules. There's been times where we've clipped people up and replied to things they've said, like Joe Weller back in the day. He did a music video that I took the piss out of, and he rang me up, and genuinely he was like upset about it, and I felt fucking terrible because in my head, and this is not trying to be funny, I thought he knew it was shit, right?
Right, that's not right.
And sometimes things that are obvious to me, like the production standards of that charity event, and having a little giggle about it, not realising that people had put their hard work into that stream and probably not being sensitive enough to that. You know, I apologise personally. I know you apologise. And like I say, I've done this to my own mates before by accident. And that's why I give Joe Weller all the credit in the world for having the balls to ring me up and telling me,
right,
bro, you've hurt my feelings, you fucked up and you shouldn't have done that.
In the fullness of time, like I'm sure everything will even out. And I'm sorry to people like Callum and Tom who put a lot of effort into that event. And, you know, I actually do. The problem for me is here, if something goes wrong, you'll either be really mad about it and be like, fuck's sake. But the likelihood is, while you're having your fuck's sake, that camera wasn't right or whatever it is, I'm sitting at the side, probably in that chair over there, laughing, going, Brian's really taking this seriously. I think I'm going to make a joke about this right now. And I'll make a joke to you and it might lighten your mood. Or you might go, yeah, you're right. Like, we fucked this thing up. Or you and I have fucked up things on shows before. And afterwards, we've gone and laughed about the fact that we did something wrong. And what I didn't realize was I did realize this, but like it was our sense of humor in our space. Yeah. And sometimes as a joker or someone who makes jokes, you can have some fun. Bro, and you make the wrong sacrificial lamb.
If you watch every live stream we've done in terms of the sporting events, unfortunately, they're out there. The KSI versus Joe Weller live stream, I was so drunk during that event. The audio was terrible. I look back at it, it looked like a pile of shit, that show. But you know, fuck it. It was fun. It was a laugh.
It was a good time.
And I think we were taking the piss the whole time. I was fucking, you know, I think it's important to just sort of don't take yourself too seriously.
Secondly, I don't know if the way that I see myself is how a lot of other people see me.
Absolutely
and that's what I found. That's what I found.
It's never, by the way,
never.
Nobody does.
But that's what I found in that time most bubble bursting was that I was on this incredible holiday with the love of my life and our child, her family, and we're exploring a place which is going to be incredibly important to him in his life. And at the same time, I'm completely breaking down in my mind what it is that I am and who I am.
Do you know something funny? Weirdly, probably one of the best things that will ever happen to you.
Yes, right?
Because I've seen so many YouTubers ditch their identity of who they really are in favor of becoming someone else to be more liked by the rest of the community.
Yeah.
The worst prison that you can be in is the one of which worrying about what people think about you. Mm-hmm. And when you get told so many times you're a cunt, you're a waste of space, all that, it weirdly strips away that element of shame and all that, because you start realizing I'm just not, though.
Everyone's a person.
Yeah, and I made a mistake, you made a mistake, whatever. Like, I think once you go through that scenario, it toughens you up. It does humble you, and some people need humbling. And let's be real here, me and you have needed fucking humbling, and I am not too proud to admit that. Right?
Can I also say it's also part of the act?
Oh no!
Like,
hear what I'm saying. Saying. We make ironic jokes to, you know, and act very cocky and arrogant to get people laughing because that's funny. But sometimes I am being cocky and arrogant.
Yeah.
And I will admit that. And sometimes I do think I'm the best fucking podcaster going and all of that, right? But equally, sometimes I hate myself.
Right.
Sometimes behind closed doors, I think, you know, why didn't I do this better? Why haven't I achieved this yet? Why am I not a better friend, a better person, a better this, a better that? And unfortunately, one of the things that makes people funny, and I'm not saying we're world-class comedians, but having made millions laugh, having an eagle eye to be able to pinpoint flaws in other people, which you can then make jokes about. Often, when you look in the mirror, that eagle eye is there tenfold, because you know every conversation you have with yourself, you know every flaw, you know every mistake, and you're even harder on yourself, which is why people like Robin Williams, you know, have a secret depression behind the scenes, but yet can say the funniest thing in the room that no one else can say, but he's, you know. And
it's a unique perspective to have.
It is, and look, we're not on that level, but we do have some ability to do that, and clearly, otherwise we wouldn't be successful at this point. I want to let you have your final say on it. Actually, is there anything else you want to say about it? Because I know it's over and done with, and obviously we're going to sort of, you know, some people are going to talk about this now, and
yeah, of course. And it carries it on a little bit. There's a little rumble.
But we don't care.
It's like an aftershock.
I think that's the thing that, personally, anyway, I don't give a fuck. You know, I don't give a fuck about what people are going to say after this, because if you know what's in our hearts and you know the context of who we are, you get this, and you get what we've said so far is fairly sensible and self-critical, but also balanced. You know what I mean? Is there anything else you want to say?
I guess from what I've learned a lot in that time, maybe also about my own criticism of other people. Online, I think one thing that is going to be a very difficult thing to achieve, and is definitely difficult on Twitter, Instagram, any of these places, is to be able to have a conversation where you can try and see where the other person's coming from and learn what their intent is, rather than learning, oh, that person screwed this person over, therefore that person is a terrible person, and reducing people down to just these binary things. You're a good or you're a bad person, go kill yourself. You know, you're a great person. This person's a genius. This person's an absolute idiot.
I think that's a very simple and a deliberately simple way of looking at it.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
And some people will
But we
follow.
are the bad guys, Lawrence, just to be clear.
And do you know what? There's something delicious about being the bad guy.
Oh, no, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I always root for the bad guy. That's why Scarface is my guy.
Yeah, having said that, you know, in films where a nuclear bomb's about to go off, Brian's not sitting there going, come on. In Die Hard, you weren't watching, well... a little bit in Die Hard, I wanted him to
Alan Rickman was amazing.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
Oh, God!
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was English actor playing an Austrian.
Yes.
doing an impression of an American.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was talent.
Yeah,
Tell him he's not a comedian or whatever.
He's not a comedian,
whatever
very
he wants
much.
To be. Whatever he wants
Is Alan
to
Rickman
be.
still alive?
No, he's dead. God bless him.
God bless him. Lovely
but
guy.
one of my favourite actors.
Yeah.
We have been talking a while. I think I should wrap this up now. It's been a nice one.
I get that.
It's a nice comeback pod. We've got loads of guests lined up. We are going to be making this more regularly. The main thing I want to finish on is I have never given less of a fuck than what I do right now.
Good.
So enjoy the ride, bitches.
Welcome. We're here with Jess, who is enjoying a cozy night in.
That's right, and she's lighting up... Is that candle?
Triple wick pumpkin spiced? Yes.
Oh, she is setting the harvest mood.
Is that a tasteful autumnal wreath?
Someone's been to Marshall's again.
Well, with quality home decor at great prices, what's stopping her? Oh, and a cozy blanket to top it all off.
That is so fall. Better get to Marshall's.
Fabulous brands.
Feel good prices at Marshall's.
Hear that? That's the sound of someone trying to steal your crypto. Every day, thousands of hackers online are doing the same. That's why Arculus uses air-gapped cold storage technology to protect your assets. Using our keycard and wallet app to form a protective barrier, Arculus insulates you from hackers and puts control of your digital assets back in your hands. Order the first truly air-gapped crypto wallet at getarculus.com.